If everybody would find their seats, we're going to get this show on the road. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. My name is Randy Lickey, and I have the pleasure of serving as the host area coordinator for our Duke-UNC Rotary Peace Center. And we're delighted to have each and every one of you with us for our 22nd annual spring conference. There's a sound of me coming out behind me, and it's a little odd. Anyway, before we get started, I would like to ask one of our second-year fellows, Jacinta Bailey, to come forward, and she's going to make a few opening remarks.
G'day, my name's Jacinta and I'm a second-year Rotary Peace Fellow. In Australia, it is tradition that we begin every meeting, gathering and conference with an acknowledgement of the Indigenous land that we stand on. We do this for three main reasons. One, it reminds us that this land was never ceded and remains Indigenous land. Two, it connects us to our responsibility to this land, to local Indigenous peoples, and to continue learning about the land that we are on. Three, yeah, that echoes strange. Three, it invites us to reflect on our place within this land's history and to consider how we can contribute to reconciliation through our actions and commitments. And so the Duke-UNC Rotary Peace Center recognizes that we are gathered today on the Indigenous lands of the Occaneechi Band of the Saponi Nation. We honor their elders, past and present, and give our deep gratitude for the ways Occaneechi peoples have kept this land and her stories alive for generations. We extend this respect and acknowledgement to the continued presence of the Saponi peoples, a group that includes the Ino, Tutelo, Occaneechi, and Shakori tribes, who are the traditional custodians of these lands known as the Piedmont region of North Carolina. As guests on this land, we commit to treating it with the same respect, love, and care that the Occaneechi Saponi peoples have shown across generations. Always was, always will be Occaneechi land. Thank you.
Thank you, Jacinta. So together we gather around the theme, Stories of Peace, Centering Community for Collective Transformation. As a courtesy to everyone, including yourselves and the speakers, if you have one of these or other things that makes a buzz, a sound, a ring, please silent it. I will tell a brief story on myself. I was leading a training session for a Rotary district, and I gave that and put my phone down, and 2 minutes later it rang. And I had said that if it happened, it was $100 to the Rotary Foundation. So any Rotarian here, if your phone goes off, you're going to peel out $100 to give to the Rotary Foundation dedicated to the peace program. We're fortunate today to have with us Rotary Foundation trustee Marty Helman. Marty's a passionate supporter of our Peace Centers program. She previously served as chair of Rotary's Peace Center Major Gifts Initiative, and she's also still working, I believe, on the working group that selects sites for new peace centers. So I now invite Marty to come up and give us a few comments.
It's not often mentioned, but when Paul Harris started Rotary 120 years ago, he thought he was starting a local service organization. Wrong again. It took World War I for Rotary to include the word international in our governing documents. And from the beginning, from the end of World War I, our first international program was international graduate fellowships. The idea was that young men, they were of course all young men in those days, young men from Germany would travel to France and England and vice versa, and there'd be no more war. Well, life is a bit more complicated than that. Coming out of World War II, Rotary started the ambassadorial scholarships, which have morphed into the global grant scholarships. And in the mid-90s, the then chair of the Rotary Foundation was a gentleman from India named Rajendra Saboo. And the story goes, and I've had this verified, it really happened. The story goes that Rajendra Saboo had a light day at the office, and he went for a walk there in Evanston, Illinois, and he wandered onto the campus of Northwestern University, and I guess he got lost, and he looked up, and there the sign on the building said Kellogg School of Management. And Rajendra Saboo said to himself, if a cereal company can have a management school, then why can't Rotary have a peace school? And within a decade, of course, Rotary had 6 peace schools in the form of the Rotary Peace Center program, and that number is only growing. We opened a new campus in Africa at Makerere University in Uganda in 2021 in the middle of the pandemic. We opened a new campus this year at Bahçeşehir University in Istanbul, Turkey. And in 2 years, we will open a new center in Pune, India at Symbiosis International University. And the trustees are committed to yet another new campus before the end of the decade, somewhere in Latin America. We have 1,900 graduates around the globe working to develop and maintain peace, and we're not done yet. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Marty. We truly appreciate you being with us throughout this weekend. We're also honored to have with us Simona Penton, who's the chair of the Rotary Foundation Peace Centers Committee and Peace Fellow. She is a Peace Fellow alumni herself. Simona, if you would stand up. See if I can get my act together here. No. It was. It's got green. Oh, aim it. Don't aim it at the screen. Thank you, Susan. So with that, I now would like to ask the members of our Duke-UNC Rotary Peace Center Advisory Board to stand and be recognized. First, Susan Carroll. John Abels from Duke University. Sharon Thomas from UNC. Is Sharon here? There. Carol Allen. No. Our program manager, Tom Lassiter, who is all the way up in the corner. Catherine Admay, who is our faculty director at Duke. Suzanne Memon from UNC, our faculty director. Our co-directors emeritus, Francis Letham from Duke. Jim Peacock from UNC, who I know is not here, but and then we have 2 alumni representatives who I don't know why in the world they're not here, but Muyatwa Satali, who's in Geneva, and Karina Ito, who lives in Brazil. So please, if you have the opportunity and you've not done so, talk to these folks and thank them. Thank them for the work they put in to keep the Peace Center what it is. In addition to our Peace Center board and honored guests, we have several current and past Rotary leaders with us today. I'll quickly run through a few of them. Past International Director Ken Morgan. Rotary District 7710 Governor Jeff Blass is here, I believe. Rotary 7600 Governor Joy Klein. Is Joy with us? There's Joy. Rotary 7680 Governor Kevin Kendrick. Rotary 7730 Governor CJ Crooks. CJ. We also have our Zone 33 Rotary Regional Foundation Coordinator, Bernie Rydell, with us. Bernie, there he is. And then from our staff in Evanston, our Rotary Peace Center's Program Director, Laura Desher. Rotary Peace Center's Program Officer, Christina Lanzona. And we have two important folks here, our Rotary Foundation Major Gifts Officers, Laurie Menzel and John Tesh. And they would be happy to talk to you about how you can invest in our foundation. So see them immediately during the break. There are many past district governors and other Rotary leaders here. It's always the risk when you name some people that you'll miss somebody, but time doesn't allow to go through everybody. And if I've missed you, I'm sorry. But thank you all again for joining us today. Throughout their fellowships, each of our fellows is matched with a local Rotarian that serves throughout their term as a host counselor. These families help them at their arrival, help them navigate through and understand our bizarre customs at times, our traditions, and really just be a friendly resource for them throughout their time here. I know in the audience we have a number of current and past host counselors. If you would just stand to briefly be recognized, please do so. Yes, I cannot thank you enough for what you do to help enrich the lives of our fellows. Today, we all have the privilege of hearing from our second-year fellows who will soon be graduating and moving on in a very unsettled environment, I think we can all admit. During their presentations, you're going to hear a variety of viewpoints. You may or may not agree with some of those viewpoints, which is fine. But remember, everybody's entitled to their own individual views, and that courteous discourse is the key to everything we do with respect to the element of conflict avoidance and resolution. So now, I'm honored to ask Susan Carroll, our managing director, to come up and introduce our first-year fellows and cover a lot of other stuff.
Good morning. So welcome to the 22nd Annual Rotary Peace Center Conference. My name is Susan Carroll, and I'm the Managing Director. I want to welcome those of you who are sitting here in the auditorium, the Nelson Mandela Auditorium at the University of North Carolina. And I'd like to welcome our virtual audience who are tuning in from all over the world. In a few minutes, you'll have a chance to meet our graduating Rotary Peace Fellows who will present the work they have undertaken during their time as graduate students at Duke and UNC. After short presentations, they'll participate in a series of discussions where you'll have a chance to join the conversation by asking them questions. But I would like to take a moment to introduce our first-year fellows. And I'd like to ask them to stand and stay standing so you can see all of them once I'm done reading their names. So studying at Duke University, we have Tibeb Abate Asfar. We have Nischal Carroll. Oh, right, he's busy. Ebor Oliver, Lillian Villanova Cazella Book, and studying at UNC, we have Hanan Kadi Abafita, Priscilla Aropagazam, Mohammed Fakri, Sharmeen Hakim Indirawala, Debbie Caramera, Hafiz Kader, Rory Newberry, and Khaled Shah. So So you can read all of their bios as well as our graduating fellows' bios are in your program. So you can sit down now. With over 300 people attending the conference today, near and far, our fellows will obviously not be able to answer all of your questions. And for that, we apologize in advance. However, something new we have added this year is what someone named the burning questions box. Oh, sorry. There we go. The burning questions box, which is located outside the auditorium doors, just to the left by the windows. And there are index cards out there with pens, and if you have a question that you wanted to ask and you did not have the opportunity, or you have several questions, write those questions on an index card and put them in the box. And then sometime in the second half of May, we will put out a blog post. And in that blog post, the fellows will answer those questions. So if you want to receive notice of that blog post, make sure you're signed up for our listserv. And also by the questions box is a sign-up sheet for the listserv in case you are not already on it. So that means you would receive periodic announcements. We do not send things out all the time, so don't worry about being spammed by the Rotary Center. You'll get our newsletters, the announcement of the conference, and other public events. So before we begin, a few important points for our in-person audience. Please do not walk across the projector. So there is a space behind that very back row, but try not to walk in front of that. There are restrooms both down here as well as up there. So if you are up at the top and you want to head out there, that is the door that you would want to go to. And as Randy said, please turn off your mobile devices and make sure that you are not also tuned into the webinar link in the auditorium. And for all conference attendees near and far, we will alternate questions between our live and virtual audience. So to our virtual attendees, ask questions, put them in the Q&A box on the webinar screen. And for all questioners, please limit your questions to an actual questions. We don't want commentary or statements or lectures first. And with limited time, no three-part questions, just please ask one question. So we are going to begin, and our first presentation will be by Leila Abed, who will talk about the role that social media plays in both inciting conflict or creating conditions for peace. And after Leila, we will have a short break.